have someone come in for interview training, work the next day and get paid at the end. So from application to being paid, you can be inside 48 hours.
James from Hasty, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I think we've all gone through the pain of getting close to payday, having to pay a phone bill, wanting to get a new pair of trainers, something, and having to wait that extra bit of time. You're solving that problem right now.
Yeah.
So for the audience that are watching, how is Hasty solving it? What do you guys do?
What we do is, it's ultimately income smoothing. What we're doing is we're enabling people, workers, employees, to receive a proportion of their earned pay immediately, on demand, whenever they want it. If you think about it, on the first day of the month, you've actually earned that day's pay, yet you still have to wait till the end of the month to get paid normally. What we're doing is you can get that at the end of the first day, so why wait?
Yeah, of course. And it's interesting because I'm going to sound mad old here, but years ago I used to remember people, there was kind of a split, right? You'd have some friends that get paid weekly and they seem less stressed, and you go, oh, I don't get paid monthly. And it was kind of a thing of people go, oh, I get paid monthly, and it was more rare to get paid monthly. Now it's across the board.
Yeah, I mean, roughly 85% of the UK workforce are paid on a monthly basis. And it tends to often be the slightly lower paid jobs that are still paid weekly. But actually, interestingly enough, we did a study that came out earlier this year, and we found so it was an update to our workplace wellbeing study that we did, and we followed that up with sort of, okay, this is interesting, let's deep dive that and do a winter update. And we found a direct correlation between frequency of pay and reliance on high cost credit. So if you're paid monthly, you're twice as likely to use high cost credit as if you're paid weekly. And if you think about the demographics of often those that are paid weekly are paid less, yet they're still less likely to use high cost credit. It's really, really compelling. So we believe that we can make a really big difference by effectively people being paid on demand whenever they want, not even weekly. It's just, okay, well, I want to receive my money, I've earned it.
It's interesting because basically every person watching this is an entrepreneur, owns a business. Most of them have employees or scaling. The employer has to be on board. So it's the case of the employer says to their employees, hey, we have this new company benefit, or is it generally employees that say, I would love to be able to get paid every day if I need? Or what way are you seeing it work? Is it more the employers wanting to provide this, or is the employees asking for it?
It's a combination of the two. So it's early stage. We're brand new. We full launched in October last year. We're kind of creating a new industry in many ways within this evolving financial ecosystem. TechFin, actually, as they name it in China, rather than fintech.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I think we definitely feel we fit more into that technology-first financial business.
Yeah.
So there's a big education phase that we're going through. So the awareness is building as more and more people use it. And as you can imagine, people are sat at home or down the pub or with the sports team or what have you and talking about it, and that will drive people to refer their employers because their mates using it, absolutely. But obviously it is a B2B offering as well. So, it's an employee benefit that the employer offers to their staff. So we do have to speak. So the sales effort is predominantly aimed at the employees, the company.
Is there any reason for the employer to not do it, right? Is there any, because obviously, the employees can take what they want and on a daily basis, and obviously if they're going to be less stressed, that's only a good thing. Why would an employer not do it? That's why.
That's a very good question, and I sometimes ask the same thing when we get the pushback, if I'm honest. It's because it's new.
Right.
There was that old phrase that no one ever got shot or fired for choosing IBM. No, the norm is that people get paid monthly at the end of the month, and it goes through and it's part of the cycle. And companies don't want to get involved in their staff's finances. Okay. They don't want to, there's still that feeling, okay, what is this? Where does this fit? Is this payday lending? No, it's the opposite. Payday lending existed because people borrow money to get the cash flow to make it to when they get paid.
This is just cash already earned.
They get paid immediately for their money they've earned, so never need to borrow. We provide the debt to the company, so it's B2B lending. We never actually lend to the company. We just enable the company to pay their staff immediately. Which is very powerful because also it means that people are living within their means. There's a direct correlation between the effort and what they're able to spend, and it's available to all types of staff, from directors all the way through to the variable staff and gig workers, because it's based dynamically on the work that's actually been completed. and obviously no credit checking of the individuals, and no recourse to the individuals if the company goes bust. That's why we've got insurance.
It's interesting. What angle are you taking on it? Are you taking the sort of, obviously the most obvious one that comes to mind is Uber drivers.
Yep.
Right? They earn, a certain amount a day, and let's say they bust their ass and they work like a 15-hour day or 14-hour day, but then they need to wait. And it's a little bit better with Uber because you get paid per week with Uber. But still, they might want to get it daily. How surely integrating with the likes of Uber would be a huge win, or is that not the way you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So we're talking to a number of the different taxi apps. Uber actually have got an offering that's slightly similar that they're offering to some of their US drivers, and rolling that out. We are seeing the US is slightly ahead on the instant pay map.
All right, okay. So
there's a couple of companies out there. A few of the companies who do it themselves. Sort of the biggest company out there doing it is Walmart, is rolling it out to their employees.
Okay.
Slowly but surely. But there's a bit more traction over there. So we're seeing that, and Uber do have an InstaPay type offering where their employees. Well, no, they're not employees. Obviously, that's a very important ruling within. I'll be shocked. Yeah. Their workforce can choose to be paid instantly for a fee, as exactly as ours works. That's not going to be the case for everyone, because not everyone can raise billions and billions of pounds and do that, even if they are losing it hand over fist. It's a super competitive market for the drivers, though, because there obviously are the different taxi apps. Uber and Lyft are the most famous, but obviously the likes of My Taxi, and there's ever new ones coming out in London alone with Get and Captain's the new one, etc., etc. A lot of them are very, very well funded, with some of the big manufacturers now taking big stakes in them as part of their future, because they've spent years, in some cases centuries, building a brand and building the cars. And they don't want to suddenly have to see an Uber badge on the front when everyone's car sharing and autonomous vehicles, and no one owning cars anymore.
Yeah, so and that's the way it's going to go. You were showing us the app just before we sat down, right? And I'm sure there's cutaways to it on the screen now as we speak. There's people out there that might have a business now, but entrepreneurs are always thinking of the next thing. How much should someone not underestimate going in and building a tech product like you've built?
I think it depends on different types of tech, on what you're building. Ours was a really big build.
Yeah.
The
integration was the pain. Where was the pain?
I mean, there's lots of different parts of it, but it's a very, very. As much as it sounds super simple, it's that swan that we're kicking really hard underneath. There's a lot of sophistication behind the scenes to be able to calculate dynamically what work's been done, to be able to make it that you can pull in data from all these different sources and different types of HR, time of sentence, payroll, push stuff out again, give people instant access to it. The security element to it. It's got to be super robust. It's at the same level, or actually, because we're new, we can use new technology. It's security like a bank, etc. So the back end, the 90% of our tech team, of our development team, is doing the back end stuff. In fact, 95% pretty much, if you include testing and the DevOps and what have you. The front end app is the simple bit. So it depends on the type of project, because obviously there are some that can be super simple apps that you can, if it's a consumer app and it's gaming and it's not really holding huge amounts of data and it's there, and then you can really push to market quite quickly and do it on a relatively low spend. But then there are certain things you just can't cut corners on.
Yeah,
and when you're talking about people's money and people's finances, it's the thing that it's their livelihoods. So it has to be 99.999%. Uptime and accurate, and we just can't afford any errors, because we can't lose trust of either the employer or the worker if they aren't able to access their funds and see they become regular users of our product, a lot of them, and it's part of how they live and get by, and it's how they're motivated, and the employers are using it to engage their staff and to attract and retain and everything else, and it's a big part of it, and it becomes a vital tool within the organisation. So the robustness of it is really important, and couldn't be underestimated. And also scalability as well. We're rolling this out to companies as quickly as possible, big organisations. We've just signed a partnership deal with one of the world's largest workforce management platforms that has sort of 40 million employees on it.
Wow.
On a daily basis. They're going through it. So, we've tested this to extraordinary levels of scalability. We've done 14,000 instantaneous cash outs. Now, to put that into perspective, if 50% of those 40 million did it once a day, based on the fact they're global, you're probably looking at around 300 a second.
Wow.
So to do 14,000 instant is really trying to stress test this, because to make it as robust as possible, as scalable as possible, to really grow this thing.
Of course. It's interesting you mentioned about retention with
Yes.
staff, because we're seeing a huge problem with, obviously the most obvious one are the big fintechs in London, right?
Yeah.
Because we've had like some Monese we've interviewed, and obviously Monzo we've interviewed these big, but then
Good company.
but then we're interviewing like the likes of Coconut, and those guys there are doing great things, but they're struggling as in finding developers and finding engineers, because obviously Revolut and Monzo and those kind of huge raises, and Starling Bank did a massive raise.
Yeah.
They're just going to attract this talent. But I suppose if you're in a business that's using your product, and you can pay yourself every third day or every second day when you need money, to move away from that, talking about the stickiness of a staff member, to move away from that would be quite difficult, to all of a sudden have to go back to being paid monthly.
Absolutely. So right now we're at the phase, obviously it's new industry we're creating, and the people that are doing it are using that as a real tool to their advantage. So, hospitality is a really big area for us. They've got highest wage growth out of any sector, over 5%. Since the Brexit vote, they've had a 20% reduction in applicants from EU nationals. If you think how many EU nationals work in hospitality in the UK, particularly London, I mean, that's half the workforce or more.
Of course.
It's crazy. So they're really struggling. Anything they can do to attract and retain and engage staff is huge for them. With our technology, with Hasty, they can put a job ad out on one of their job ad apps, have someone come in for interview, training, work the next day and get paid at the end. So from application to being paid, you can be inside 48 hours, which is hugely powerful for attracting those people. And actually they then work for some of the good companies that are playing legit at the end of the month and everything that's right, and they're getting them into a good process, and chances are they'll have a good stable job and be reasonably fairly paid there. But if people are coming into that without the funds to be able to afford to pay rent until the end of the month, then they have no choice but to go around the corner to somewhere where they're going to get paid less cash in hand and probably not get any of the perks of doing so. So again, it keeps people engaged. They can use that, they can build up their reserve. We're also seeing really interesting ways of behaviours of people using it. So we've got everything from the pure luxury user, as we call it. We had someone sign up and within 24 hours had cashed out everything they'd earned in January to benefit from the BA January sale, and save like 70% of their flights to Australia. I mean, third world problems.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then through to one of our own grads actually is using it. We have a budgeting tool within it, and they've chosen to basically budget their daily life within 25% of their pay. So they're now using that as everything that they then spend throughout the month. And they've moved the account in which the rest of their pay goes into the end of the month into a savings account to pay off their student loan and save for a deposit for a house.
He knows he can't get paid until the next day, such from the app. So it's
the pay's instant, so you can choose it on demand as it goes. So there's no sort of lag on that.
Yeah.
If some days he might spend £10 or £15, and actually he's obviously earning more than that. And other days he might get to Friday and take out 200 for fun and games over the weekend or what have you. So you still have that flexibility.
Okay.
And of course, even if you've set it to 25%, should you suddenly arise at that unexpected bill and it's greater than that, the boiler glows, or you need to buy a new season ticket for your travel, or pay a rent deposit because you're moving out, something like that, you can
just do it,
flick it straight back up, and it's real time.
Is there any fear from your point of view that one of the banks can do this?
No, we're talking. We know.
I know you can say that about anything.
Well.
You can.
I mean, it's difficult to do, and the bigger the bank and the more legacy their systems are, the more difficult it is to do. Actually, what our view of the market is that actually banks probably want to collaborate with us.
Yeah.
So, and you have a number of conversations with some of the big banks at the moment about doing just that. So, hey, look, why don't we work together on this? There's benefits. We're part of this ecosystem. We're not a challenger bank. We're not trying to be a challenger bank. We're kind of creating a new market that is complementary to a number of the other products. And how do we fit in this space?
Yeah.
So work with the other good companies out there is part of what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I suppose they're trying to build something completely different themselves as in a challenger bank. So going down the route of what you're doing is
And you kind of look at the space. Effectively what we've done is, from a financial product point of view, we've kind of reinvented reverse factoring to apply it to people. It's supply chain finance. And you look at how the ecosystem's worked within factoring and other supply chain finance, and actually what you'll have is, lots and lots of, not lots and lots, but there's some big, the likes of Bibby have found, Independent and Factor 21 and blah, blah, blah. There are a number of, Sonovate, etc. There are a number of very good factoring businesses that have, a lot of their funding comes from the banks. The back-to-back facilities from RBS and NatWest and from Lloyds and what have you are some of the biggest backers of all these funds.
Of course.
And the customers that were originally going to be RBS customers have gone there. They're now still benefiting from actually doing the debt element without having any of the customer interface or customer support side of things, which were probably the area they weren't very good at because of their legacy systems and because of the size they were and because they were such a broad church. So I think in many ways we can work with other players within this space in a positive way.
Yeah, of course.
One of the things that we do within the, for the employer, one of the nicest elements of what we do is we're in this sort of positive multiplier. With the employer, the employee, and us. Normally in sort of a borrowing environment, there's kind of to some extent a winner and a loser. But because we sit in the middle of these three parties, there's three parties in our relationship. By improving financial stress, or what we like to call it, making people more financially fit. So a combination of the availability to cash flow for their earned pay. The financial education that we're giving them and the other tools. We help make those people less financially stressed and more productive. We also have additional benefits within that, such as driving positive behaviours. Let's say you've got a call centre, it matters that the staff are there to answer the phones when the line's open. So you set it, the company can set Hasty to only pay the days that you turn up to work on time. Guess what?
Okay.
You're getting
people turn up.
Improved punctuality, and it matters. So you're making the workforce more productive, which ultimately makes the company more productive, which means that they can hopefully employ more people and or pay the productive people more, which means more people on our app, and we end up with this great circular positive multiplier effect.
Win-win-win.
Where we think we can genuinely, as we scale, have a positive impact on productivity of the economy.
Amazing. Well, look, thank you so much for coming in. If people want to find out more, the entrepreneurs watching, where can they find out more?
Go to our website, hastypay.com. Or look us up on any of the social channels, but the website's there and all of our contact details are there. Get in touch, and we'd love to hear from people and work with them as clients and partners where it's relevant.
Good stuff, James. Thank you so much for coming in. Cheers.
Great. Thank you very much.